Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8, and this is Let's Play Will a Wonderful World, Part 6. Right now I am double checking the recording, which, yep, looks like it's working. So, let's continue. Guts. Are you a cat? How can I get a letter from a cat?
부처님, 나도 좀 도와줘요.
Okay. I was a stray kitten. Daddy called me Spotty. So, I'm answering the prayers of animals now? I mean, I'm not against it, but... yeah, not expecting this. Daddy was like a daddy to me. He was an older homeless cat who had always taken care of me. Ever since he found me, he would always bring me with him wherever he went. He had given me my name, too. He had told me it was because of the yellow spots on my tail. Whenever we found some goodies, Daddy would always let me have the first bite. He would stroke my head and tell me, "Kiddo, help yourself. You're only 3 months old. You need more food to grow up." I always liked Daddy the best. Today, Daddy was going to take me to the hill and catch some birdies, but it started raining heavily. Daddy said that because of the rain, the birdies wouldn't come out for their sunbath today, so we had to go back to the street like yesterday and look for some goodies to eat. I hoped we could find more tasty chicken legs and fish steaks. Meow! Meow! Unlike in the wild, there are many two-legged animals walking on the street. Daddy told me they are called humans. Because of the humans, the street was always very crowded all day and all night. Sometimes when we came to a place where there were lots of humans, a few female humans would excitedly meow at me. What a cutie. And if I let them touch my head with their paws, I could often get some goodies too. But Daddy always warned me to keep my distance from them. Well, I mean, some humans are nice, some aren't. Daddy said that humans are not to be trusted. Well, not a human you don't know. I mean, that's the thing that's great about humanity. We have such a great deal of variety. It's every color of that rainbow. From the deepest black to the brightest white. And no one's really a mix of... no one's just pure evil or pure good. Every person has the capacity for anything. So, but some people are really, really nice. Regardless of anything, and some people are not. The street was just across the road. I could see the shop with the fish sign from there. But we had to wait for the light to change. Daddy explained that traffic laws in Korea are very strict. The fine is over 20,000. If I didn't see the term won earlier, I would assume it was yen. Now, I have no idea what the... damn, I can't think of the word for that. It's not translation, it's not transversion, it's not conversion. Yeah, that sounds right. The conversion rate is. But I'm going to assume that 20,000 yuan, or Y-U-A-N, it would amount to 200 American dollars. I'm assuming 1 yuan is equal to a penny. But I don't know. But I'm assuming that number is equal to $200 of American dollars. 200 American dollars. That's my assumption. If we were caught, even if we turned in all of our hidden dried fish streets, it wouldn't be enough. No one expects a cat to pay a fine. And there were many iron beasts running so fast in the street. Yeah, cars go pretty damn fast. Daddy said those beasts are made by humans and they are called cars. They're very dangerous and we must be careful not to get it. Yeah, that would kill you. And it actually would kill most humans. It's kind of hard to survive getting hit by a hunk of metal. So we must obey the law. Yeah. The light finally turned green. I sprinted a little and went ahead. Daddy followed me slowly. He was a little old and he had been injured before, so he couldn't see very well. A beast near us suddenly let out a huge roar of bang, and smoke came out from under it. Cats, do they have pointy ears and a long tail? Yes. And they know how to watch the traffic lights? I don't think cats and dogs even understand the concept of a traffic light. Plus, I mean, the angle of their head is where they are on the ground. Even if they could see the color of the light, I don't think they'd be able to see the traffic light even if they knew to look for it. But even then, I'm not sure if the cat or dog would be able to see the shades of color, because I don't think their ability to see color is nearly as good as a human's. But I don't know what the limitations are. They know how to write letters too? Good question. Maybe they can write in their own language? We are gods, so receive the translated version of the letter. That's fascinating. I wonder what the original letter looks like. The beast seemed to have suddenly become shorter, and it was charging. Become shorter. Yeah, I don't even know what that would mean, but it means coming toward him at least. Towards Daddy, screeching and screaming. But it was a green light, meow. Not humans sometimes don't obey the law of the traffic either. The ground was covered in water and it was very slippery. I heard a sound like schlip. I looked back and he had slipped. I ran over trying to grab him. The beast ran over Daddy in an instant. Damn! Fuck! He didn't stop until it was almost at the crossing. A human kid opened the door and the beast and ran toward me on Daddy. Please help, Daddy. I meowed at him for help. But the kid tripped just a few steps away from us. I recognized him. His name was Park Sang-goon. He lived nearby. That sounds familiar. I often got goodies from him. He was a good kid. He would help Daddy for sure. I kept meowing louder and louder, and a few more adult humans in white cars followed him out of the beast. I thought they were all coming to help me and my daddy. But they stopped at where Sang-goon fell and pinned him on the ground? While they were trying to drag him away, I saw a big, dark red scar on the back of his neck. What? I'm confused. I had seen people in his home beat him. I didn't know he had been hurt so badly. Sang-goon was dragged away by the white-coated humans and thrown inside the beast once again. White-coated. Maybe that's what the police over there wear? I don't know. Then the beast just ran away. The whole time nobody had even heard me meowing for help. Oh, that's a little graphic. Granted, it's just the color red, but still, I feel bad for the cat. I imagine Tira Grace would be really sad because he has 11 cats. I have 0 cats. I have fish. I saw Daddy lying in his own blood. I almost couldn't recognize him anymore. I cried. Please take Daddy to the hospital, please, someone. Honestly, even if a vet was like 5 feet away, I don't even think the most skilled, amazing vet with the greatest technology ever would be able to save that cat's life. The humans walked by, glanced at us, and kept walking. It was like they couldn't even see us or hear us anymore. Some humans covered their nose as if they had seen a dead rat. They were not like this before. They used to like touching our heads with their paws. Why? Why? Was Daddy right? Were humans really not to be trusted? God, please help Daddy. Fuck! Spotty. Well, shit. Soap opera. I thought the lieutenant would commend me for resolving a crisis on my first day. Instead, I was scolded in front of the entire office as soon as I got back from the scene. I was even told to write a discipline report. It had to be at least 10,000 words long. I had always hated writing. I'd rather run 100 laps on the field. So I decided to simply Google similar reports online without the lieutenant noticing. After lots of copying, pasting, and rearranging, I finally completed the 10,000 word report. I felt exhausted afterwards, so I went to the bathroom to wash my face. I could still feel the impact to my organs after falling on the cushion. Fortunately, I was fit enough to endure it. I don't think I would. A regular person would probably have to stay in the hospital for a few days. And me? Well, honestly, like I said, the tendons in my left arm are still a bit sore from one. I think it was about a week and a half ago or something. I slipped on the ice in the area outside my work and just I hit that ground really hard. But even before that, I haven't even really been working out that much lately. It's just doing my job. It's like the muscles in my left arm, I pull them. I'm still doing my job anyway and pretending that everything's fine with it, but it still hurts, and it's still like the muscles in my left arm feel weak, particularly around the elbow and the tendon. But yeah, I imagine I'd be stuck in a hospital for a month if I fell like that guy did. At least I was just fall from standing to on my back and elbows on the pavement. I looked in the mirror and saw the band-aid on my face and gave myself a proud smile. I was just getting out of the bathroom when I witnessed something incredible with my own eyes. Lieutenant Kang was holding a folder in front of him. Even though his face was mostly hidden behind it, I could still clearly see his expression for where I was. The cigarette he held in his mouth was slightly twisted. Some watery stuff was coming out from his eyes. They were, without a doubt, tears. Is this really the eccentric dictator that I had been hearing about? And should I leave the room now? Should I? Officer Min Jun had left the office a while ago. Lieutenant must have thought I had gone home too. If he saw that I was still in the office right now, would he kill me for seeing all that? I was still struggling with the most difficult decision in the history of mankind when Lieutenant Kang closed the folder. I quickly headed back in the bathroom and didn't come back out until I heard him walking out of the office way. I looked around the office and realized that I was alone. I couldn't help but start walking closer to Lieutenant Kang's desk, without even realizing it myself. The folder was still on the desk. It was a red folder. It was the Archives of Criminal Investigation Unit 2 on its cover. Unit 2. I heard that a few years ago the entirety of Unit 2 had been killed in a violent incident. Afterwards, Unit 2 became the only unit in the Busan Police Criminal Investigation Department that had a designation, but no members. So sort of like as a memorial for those that lost their lives. Well, I mean, that's a way to honor them, but I don't think I've ever heard of that being done before. But I agree with the idea, and I think it's a good one. Some people call it a ghost unit. True enough, but honestly, I like the idea of honoring these people's loss and sacrifice in such a way. I agree with this. Due to the severity of the case, no one in the station would talk about it, especially the older officers who had been at the precinct when it happened. Why did Lieutenant Keggs care so much about Lieutenant 2? Had he lost some colleagues during the incident? Wait, why did I care? It had nothing to do with me. I should just mind my own business. I went back to my seat, I created a new document on my computer, and then I typed the title, Unit Transfer Request. But I could think of another word after. My brain was totally blank. So he's still trying to get to Unit 1 himself. It must have been worn out after writing that damned report today. That you copied from Wikipedia. Oh, shit. I was straining my brain to figure out what to say next when a big hand slapped my shoulder. Yo, the new guy at Unit 4 is working hard. I wish my people could be half as diligent as you. The voice sounded as loud and as powerful as a booming bullhorn. I almost jumped out of my skin when I suddenly heard it behind my back. I turned around. It was Lieutenant Kim Jong-hoo of Unit 3. I stood up from the chair quickly and gave him a salute. He waved his hand. Young man, no need to be so formal. Go take a bath and rest in the spa. Well, how do you guys have a spa? Then again, it's a different country. Maybe you guys have... Because I know things like, what's it called? Oni something? The word for a public bath. Like, public baths and hot springs are at least made to seem a lot more common from what I see in media. But whether or not it actually is or not, I don't know. I checked the time. I didn't even realize it was almost 11 p.m. The spa room inside the precinct was even bigger than my apartment. It was incredibly clean. It would be incredible to finish the day with a hot bath. I breathed in the steam, looking forward to a relaxing evening. Then I took off my clothes and stuffed them inside a locker. I closed the locker door and turned around. Lieutenant Kang was right there. He just got undressed. He was in great shape with lean muscles all over his body. I mean, yeah, I'd feel a little bad too, just because I don't really have shit in the way of muscles. And granted, I do try to lift weights to build muscle, but I constantly injure myself. Like I said, I'm accident prone, and I hurt myself at work. I didn't want to admit it. When he was not screaming at me, Lieutenant Kang was actually a rather handsome man, despite being a little disheveled. I used to hear a rumor that despite his peculiar personality, he was still able to keep his position, in no small part thanks to solid support from the female police officers in the Criminal Investigation Unit. I guess that made sense. I had already witnessed the female officers from the other units smiling at the lieutenant in the hallway quite a few times on my first day alone. Why didn't anyone smile at me? Speaking of which, not only was Unit 4 a small team, it was also a sausage unit. If only we had some awesome female officers in the unit as well. Well, I would like to meet more women myself. There's women at my job, but I don't make passes at them just because I feel that would be really weird and uncomfortable to be in a relationship with somebody I work with. I think it would be very awkward and unprofessional. I hadn't talked to Lieutenant Kang after he yelled at me that afternoon, yet now we were standing in front of each other, completely naked. This was not awkward at all. Yes, it is. It is awkward. We got in and out of the hot tub after a spa session that seemed to last forever. Then we went back to the locker room. We put on our clothes, and we were about to leave. We never said a word to each other the whole time. Sigh, I was hoping that I could relieve some of the tension between us. May I write a letter to him? Huh? Why? I want to ask him for a picture of his boss next time. I suppose I was too naive. A piece of soap appeared out of nowhere and stopped near us. He reached out. I was taking my clothes out of the locker when I heard a noise and turned out and saw what just happened. My eyes involuntarily looked down. I looked back at myself, and then I looked at the lieutenant again. This time our eyes met, and I could see something menacing in his eyes. Oh my god. I didn't do it on purpose, and I didn't even see anything. Okay, fine. Actually, I did see something, but I really didn't mean to. I was so screwed. Even if my request to transfer was approved, I wouldn't be able to get out tomorrow. Maybe tonight? Lieutenant would just kill me. Please, Buddha, please tell me what should I do? What exactly did he see? I have no idea. You know, you just don't want to say. Chang Guangmin. Okay. Well, let's say on the soap, the guy fell down, and my character, whose name I can't remember, Park, I think, grabs him and saves him. Let's try this. Lieutenant King rolled his eyes at me and stood back up by himself. He then got dressed and left the locker room. I froze and stood there like a statue. If only I had reached out to grab him sooner. No, I should have gone and picked up that soap. Oh boy, was my career over? Daddy jumped ahead just in time, and the beast missed him. Luckily, the beast kept running with smoke out from under and ran straight in the next crossing. It was another red light. Oh. I saw the beast hit another smaller beast. Car accident. The smaller beast was knocked off its path and hit a third beast. Soon the crossing was filled with all kinds of beasts, every one of them barking loudly, beeping. Daddy and I turned away and kept walking toward the street. I mean, it's better. But, let's see, what can we do? Well, one thing we can do is make sure it's recording. Yes, it is. So... Okay, let's see what happens here. Lieutenant King rolled his eyes at me and stood up back on himself. He then got dressed and left the locker. I froze and stood there like a statue. Did I just do something I shouldn't have done? No. Or did I just forget to do something that I should have done? Oh God, I have no idea which one. I am confused! Oh boy, was my career over? Huh. Maybe? I actually caught a glance at Lieutenant King when I was taking my clothes in my locker. Wow, his body was really top-notch. It was still wet, and drops of water were still streaming down his skin. And for anyone in the world, I'm sure Lieutenant King, hotness must be off the charts. I didn't know what had gotten into me, but I reached out and grabbed his arm. Lieutenant Aang acted like he had been shocked and punched back immediately without even looking. Then he saw that it was me. His face turned totally steely and green, and his eyes were filled with anger. Never sneak up from behind again, ever again. My nose felt like it was on fire. I could feel blood coming out of it, but I didn't dare to wipe it. I had to stand there with one hand, punch my nose, and the lieutenant left the locker room. Okay. How do I fix this? Okay, what if I put this here? Well, I need this here. Okay, so the cat still lives if I do that. This? Okay, this is new. The round feet of the beast happened to step on some soap. The beast suddenly turned to its side like it was drunk. Daddy jumped ahead just in time. The beast missed and luckily. But the beast had run to the rails not too far ahead and finally stopped in the grass. Soon a human walked out of the beast. He seemed to be okay and just started yelling while checking his beast's round feet. I looked at the beast. Its body had some words on it but I couldn't read. But I had seen the sign next to it before. I used to go hunting with birdies with Daddy in a place far, far away. It was deep inside the mountains. On top of the hill, there was buildings that smelled like drugs. Daddy told me that it was a hospital and had the same sign as the one on the beast. I remember thinking the hospital looked a little strange, and humans inside didn't look hurt at all to me, but none of them would smile. Some of them would burst into laughter or tears all of a sudden, and they all looked a little strange, not like the humans we met in the city. Humans were so strange? Okay, so I got a rank S for the cat. But I need to figure out how to give this guy a happy ending over here. I grabbed Lieutenant Kang and tried to pull him up, but I slipped and fell too. We had to go back to the hot tub and take another bath to clean ourselves. The water was still very warm, but I was already used to the temperature after the first time. Lieutenant Kang wrapped his towel around his neck again. He didn't close his eyes this time, though. He just seemed to be staring blankly ahead. There was only the two of us in the spa room. It was so quiet again. Nothing else in the air except for the steam, the water, and the awkwardness. But maybe it was my imagination, but Lieutenant Kang almost looked like a normal, accessible person for a while. I was almost going to ask him something, but eventually I decided to let it go. It's already after work. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. Okay, we got our rank S's.
Carlos, te extraño.
Little Lamb Billy.
부처님, 나도 좀 도와줘요.
Cargo shorts and the beach shirt. Okay. I have been assigned here for a week. For the past few days, I have been trying to find an opportunity to write my transfer application and submit it to Lieutenant Kang. Yet every time I sat down and tried to fill out the form, Lieutenant Kang would throw a bunch of paperwork at me and make me file them. It was almost like he knew what I was up to. None of this made any sense at all. As a police officer, shouldn't I be patrolling the city to stop crimes and helping people with everything I had? Even be ready to sacrifice myself for justice at a moment's notice? But this was so boring. Thank God I could still sometimes chat with Officer Min Jun, a more senior officer, Unit 4. Or I would have exploded out of boredom by now. Usually at this point, Min Jun would say, "I'll lend you a grenade then." Min Jun liked making these kinds of morbid firearm jokes, although I rarely found them funny. Life sucked. I poured myself another glass and chugged it. I was at a bar called Crash, where I would always come whenever I was feeling down. Every day after midnight, the bar would turn into a carnival. But around sunset, the atmosphere here was actually really nice, and it was the best time to come here and drink alone. I was sitting by the window and staring at the street blankly. Some words from the conversation at the next table suddenly caught my attention. A bald man in a Hawaiian shirt raised his bottle and said, "Bro, have you heard about what happened to Group Gang Moon a few days ago?" His buddy, who was wearing a pair of beach shorts and sporting the most ridiculous hairstyle, laughed. Of course, it's been heard all over our group, Yuseong. This was really brutal for them, to blow off half the head of Choi Yo-han's son. Only Kang Bak-ya has the balls to do that. My ears perked up when I heard Lieutenant Kang's name out of the blue like that. The bald man continued, "I think it was pretty rad. That bastard was always so fucking annoying. He would come to our turf all the time looking for trouble, just because of his good old daddy." The crazy-haired guy interrupted him. "Shut the fuck up, you idiot. Don't let anyone hear you say that. You're going to get Boss Jew in trouble." The bald man immediately concurred. "Oh, sure. By the way, I've also heard that Choi Yo-han is setting up a trap for Kang Bak-ya. It is going to be epic. Ha 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 ha." The crazy-haired guy sounded surprised. "Hey, watch it. Don't get so close to me. Wait. What did you mean by setting up a trap?" The bald man explained. "I heard that they had something on Kang Bak-ya and they'll use it to force him to turn himself over. You can guess what they're going to do with him next. I think it's supposed to be going down tonight, over at the warehouses by the port." The crazy-haired guy didn't seem like he was buying it. "Really? You think that would work?" Kang was tough enough to take out a whole team on his own. The bald man got excited. "We'll find out. Apparently they prepared barrels and concrete, and I've heard something about some other big surprise. Anyway, no matter which side loses, our boss, Jew, will be happy either way. I bet he's been looking forward to this day for a long time. Ha 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 ha." I sobered up completely. I quickly checked my cell phone. It was 9 p.m. Now that I thought about it, Lieutenant Kang had gotten a delivery earlier today, and he had left the office soon afterward. Did the delivery have anything to do with the trap? I knew I didn't quite get along with Lieutenant Kang, but no matter what, he was on the side of justice. Now that I knew he was in danger, there was no way I could just sit aside and let it happen. I sneaked into the bathroom and immediately called the lieutenant. Nobody picked up. I then called the police station. Someone told me that nobody from Unit 4 was available. I had a really bad feeling. If I didn't get in touch with the lieutenant as soon as possible, the door opened and a person walked out. My reaction had been slowed down because of the alcohol. The young man who had just come out of the stall grabbed me by the hair and slammed me into the mirror above the sink. Ooh, the mirror was smashed and there was broken glass over the wall. That's enough to concuss you right there. Just before I passed out, I heard someone say, "You dirty cop, are you trying to snitch on our own turf?" Screw you. When I woke up, I found myself lying in a big empty warehouse. The gate was locked from the outside. I could see the evening stars through the windows high above the wall. Oh man, how long had I been out for? Was Lieutenant Kang already at the port? Okay, Alicia. Little Lamb Billy. Hong Kong was a strange city. It was quite small, but it felt like such a big city. While it was busy and rich, there were so many poor people, including numerous homeless people wandering the streets. I had hoped to go to America, but I ended up being kidnapped and brought to Hong Kong. I didn't have any money on me. I didn't know if I could even survive here, not to mention go to America. I began to look at the hiring flyers on the wall. Teamsters, engineers, masseurs, a lot of places were hiring, but I didn't know how to do any of the jobs. But one day I saw that there was a nightclub looking for a pub singer. The club was called Melody Hall. It sat in the middle of the most popular location on Portland Street in Mong Kok. The club was huge and the guests were all dressed like royalty. Everyone that came to audition for the job was sitting in the lobby waiting for their turn. Several middle-aged men were sitting below the stage, looking terribly bored. I chose... Oh wow, that is an amazing picture. and she looks quite pretty. And while I am not a Catholic, I definitely take notice of the cross right there. I'm a Christian. Technically, the church I went to growing up was an apostolic. It was actually an all-black church. I was like one of only 2 white people there, the other one being my mom. But they're good people. It's just, the best way I can describe an apostolic church is probably similar to a Baptist. I don't know. But, I don't know. When it comes right down to it, there's so many different denominations of Christians. Simply because there are so many disagreements about small things here and there. But then again, I mean, whether you're Christian or Jewish, you believe in the same God. And even then, I don't care what religion somebody is. I mean, many of my closest friends I've had were atheists. They didn't believe in God, but I did, but that didn't make a difference. Everyone's allowed to have their own viewpoints, and have different perspectives. That's fine. I mean, we're all unique. But I feel like I'm hearing a little bit of Hispanic influence in this music. It sounds really cool. I like it. It was a folk song from my hometown called Little Lamb Billy. After my parents had passed away, my brother and I were soon sent to the orphanage. For a long time afterwards, Carlos seems to have shut down entirely. That's understandable, losing your parents must be awfully traumatic. He could still sit there for an entire day without saying a single word. He was only 3. There was nothing near the orphanage but hills and mountains. I liked to take him hiking and would talk to him at the top of the mountain or sing to him. We would stay there for whole days sometimes. However, he still wasn't talking. One day when I was singing, I suddenly thought to myself, was this going to last forever? Would Carlos never ever talk to me again? I had to stop the song. I couldn't stop myself from thinking depressing thoughts. I cried. Why are you crying, Alicia? Carlos was pulling on my arm, and I saw him looking at me with clear eyes. That day he had finally returned to me. The song I had been singing that day was Little Lamb Billy. I stood in front of the elevator. I was thinking about the song that I just sang in the days when he had lived in the orphanage. I couldn't help but hum that song again. I felt a sudden tap on my shoulder. It was one of the men who had been sitting below the stage earlier. Miss, there is something that you should know. His eyes were almost shut as he smiled at me. It is quite a hassle to hire a foreigner like you who has no papers. You won't be able to find another job in all of Hong Kong. However, I think you are really terrific. I would love to hire you as long as you... As he was speaking, he was moving his hand down from my shoulder along my back, and it kept moving down even further. This is not appropriate. This is... Okay. Like, this is not a scenario where you can... This is not... No. This is not okay. This is wrong. I was taken aback and tried to move away, but he grabbed my wrist. I had never been in a situation like this before in my entire life. Okay, she moved away. She's not interested. Grabbing her wrist, this is assault. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Fucking creepy bastard. I was horrified. Anyone would be. I tried to shake him off all my strength. I scratched his face with my nails, leaving a red mark. He felt his face with his hand as I was running away. You ungrateful little bitch. You people, go grab her. I ran in a small alley and hid behind a dumpster. After what seemed to be eternity, I could no longer hear the people who were running after me. I fell to the ground. I felt violated and ashamed. Tears were rushing out of my eyes, as if all my suffering had come back to haunt me. Carlos, I miss you so much. Alicia. Well, shit. Well, this is going to be the easiest puzzle ever, because there literally is only one option. I turned around. It was Officer Min Jun. Thank God you were here, Min Jun seemed shocked after I told him what I just heard outside. He said the lieutenant might still be at his own place. It wasn't too far from here. We should hurry over and see if we could catch him in time. With Min Jun leading the way, we were running as fast as we could toward Lieutenant Kang's home. Then we came across a small dark alley without any lights. Min Jun seemed to be out of breath as he slowed down. He pointed to this 2-story apartment building not too far in front of us and told it that it was Lieutenant's building. I decided to keep going ahead, but before I could run more than a few steps, I suddenly felt the sharp pain on the back of my head. I felt dizzy and lost my balance. I couldn't even see the road anymore. I fell to the ground and blacked out. When I woke up, it was almost daylight. Officer Min Jun was laying next to me. Neither of us seemed to have our wallets. Oh man, how could this happen? Was Lieutenant Kang already... Wait, did Lieutenant Kang... Someone unusually tall had just walked out of the elevator wearing an even more unusual ensemble. A pair of red high heels, a pair of tight black leather pants, a lavish fur coat. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. I walked past this person into the elevator and pressed the button for the first floor. The person kept walking into the lobby. Okay, we at least got a rank A for both. But... okay. It was one of the men who had been sitting below the stage earlier. Miss, there's something that you should know. His eyes were almost shut as he smiled at me. Okay, we've read this creepy part before. No one could help me now. Obviously, I have to choose the opposite order. But thank you, red text, for telling me what to do. But I should be able to at least figure it out with only 2 options. That being said, I assume that the other side has to be an S rank. But this is the same as before. I checked the time again, it was already 9:30. It wasn't safe to go straight to the port as I didn't know how many people were the enemy they had. I hadn't received my weapon yet, as this was only my first week. It wouldn't be terribly useful for me personally, but it was still a little bit better than nothing. I should at least go back to the station and check out a gun. Perhaps I could even find some backup. I hoped I could make it in time. I left the bar, a cold breeze blew over my face. I shuddered and felt myself sobering up a little more. I hailed a cab. I kept urging the driver to speed up. In the end, it took 30 minutes to arrive rather than the usual 60. Bark! As soon as I opened the door, I threw up all over the ground. The old driver looked at me emotionlessly and handed me the bill and a napkin. I just ran through 3 red lights for you. I'll give you a discount for being a police officer. Okay, I got a rank S for him, so that's good. But... there we go. Miss, there's something that you should... okay. Where... okay. Still the same as before. And now, hey, that was embarrassing. Someone who had just gotten off the elevator stood in front of me. A pair of red high heels, a pair of tight black leather pants, a lavish fur coat. If it weren't for the voice, no one had guessed that it was a man wearing them as if he saw them from behind. For the manager of Melody Hall to dare do something like this in public, what would your big boss say if he heard about this? Fine, just not my lucky day then. The manager shot me a stern look, turned around, and walked back into the lobby. The cross-dressing man turned to me, smiling widely. Hello, pretty little girl. Would you like to go get a drink at my place? Yay, everyone's happy. Cough. Cough, cough. Okay, you have a cold? Deep breath. You ask me how deeply I love you. What on earth? Why did I hear a door open? I'm singing. I didn't know you sang. What's the name of the song? The moon represents my heart. How does she still know this song? I thought I had... Thought you would... What, Panda Squirrel? Okay. That... Panda Squirrel? What's going on here? Because I know it's been a while since I played the first parts, but I'm pretty sure that you said she fell down a flight of stairs or something and lost her memory. Which is kind of dumb, considering that you're saying that you two are gods. This whole thing here is making me question if she is safe with you, and you just need if you just abducted a random human because you can't do the shit yourself because of some sort of spiritual law requirement, kind of like the whole vampires aren't supposed to come in unless you invite them or something. What are you mumbling about? I mean, of course, the song! Everyone in China knows this song. Why are you suddenly in the mood to sing? When I read Alicia's story about her singing, all of a sudden the music popped in my head out of nowhere. I will say this. That kind of Chinese outfit that she is wearing, it makes me think about maybe if I was ever in China at a restaurant, if there would be, some hostesses wearing an outfit like that. I wouldn't be against women in America wearing outfits like that. It would actually be quite appealing. Then again, a lot of the outfits that men, the male kimonos that men wear, I think that would be kind of cool for me to wear. Then again, if I could dress like anime character, I would. So, I've never actually cosplayed or been to a cosplay or a Comic-Con or anything like that. So I've never actually been to one of those big conventions. There's never really any one of them near me. Plus, I've worked so much, so it'd be hard to even find the time to go. But I've always been interested in going to a Comic-Con or something like that, or going to a place that had cosplay. Because I always thought that would be cool. I've just never really had the opportunity. They're not really close to me. And even then, it's just a lot of times I work so much. Maybe I was a singer before I died? Before you died? I've heard stories on how some people become gods when they die with unfulfilled wishes. That must be why I know these songs, right? Aren't those usually ghost stories, not god stories? I mean, just slight mispronunciation, right? Although if that had been the case, wouldn't my power have something to do with singing? What do you mean? For example, what if my singing was healing powers? Or maybe my song can bring peace to people at war? How imaginative. We have been alive for a long time. There's nothing strange about us knowing some songs. Gods are supposed to know everything. If it weren't for your memory loss, I'm sure you would remember even more. I trust that you are not to be trusted, Panda Squirrel. Panda Squirrel, you got me worried. I don't trust you, doggo. I know you wanted to be a singer so much. Look, I made you some Asmanthus cake. What is that? I gotta look that up at some point. Nothing. Nothing's more powerful than sweets. Enjoy the cake. Remember to do your work after you finish your snack. I'll see you later. Wait, I haven't heard you sing yet. Before you go, sing me something. Sternly, I will not. Mumbles with mouth stuff. You are my servant. You cannot say no to my request. No. As your servant, my duty is to supervise your work, and saying no to you is one of my rights. Well then, what if I serve you some tea? I made the tea. How about I wash your feet? I just washed them myself. Well, would you like me to comb your hair? What is that face? What is with the eyes? It's just comical. But immediately he's like, what would you like to hear? Name it. Apparently he is desperate to be brushed. Like she mentioned brushing him. Like everything, he was so stern and attacking her. And now he's like, what would you like to hear? Name it! It's like, brush me, brush me, brush me. Your face is almost twisted. Well, let me think. I don't know if this matters at all, or if it's just flavor. But the fact that it's got a visual novel and they even referenced an M. Night Shyamalan movie, what the hell is the twist gonna be? There are all the songs of Teresa Teng. Why wouldn't you pick something more exciting, more hardcore? To be fair, you've liked her music ever since you were little. Since I was little? Oh no, I mean, you have always liked her music. What is that face? Also, the girl whose name I can't remember. And the dog. I know it was probably in part 1, but I don't remember either of these people's names. That being said, how old is this person on the right supposed to be? It's hard to guess, simply because of where the profile picture is at. Because, I mean, in general, what Chinese women I have met tend to be a little shorter and more youthful looking than, well, Western looking women. So, I'm not sure how to guess the age. What age is this person? I don't know. I don't have the faintest idea. And it's hard to tell from just this profile. So, I don't know. But, I don't know. It's hard to understand. Yeah, his eyes are back normal. Anyway, I happen to know this one. Listen up, I'm going to sing now. If I never met you, where would I be? My darling, can you hear me? Please don't leave me. Without you nearby, I no longer feel love in the slightest. What do you think? I've been curious. Why is it that the only sound we make when we talk is a single beep, even though the tone is always the same? Even when we were singing, it was nothing more than some rhythmic beeping. Are we making reference to the beeping sound that me, the player, is hearing? Well, we are gods after all, not humans. We have our own unique qualities, we should focus on them. What, are you guys trying to say you talk in Morse code? Speaking of which, how's work been recently? Oh, it's been going pretty well. My only complaint is that there's so many letters. I've been pulling out a lot of all-nighters to finish them. You don't have to work that hard. We are not on the same timeline as humans. It doesn't really matter to them when we handle their letters. The most important thing about being a god is to enjoy yourself. That's okay, I am enjoying myself. For some reason that reminds me, I think I already mentioned it. There was one time at a Chinese buffet. Only one time. I've gone to that one a couple more times, and they never had it again. And I've never seen any other restaurant, or even in a store, peach bun. It's like a sweet bread with peach flavor with a sort of peach, like red bean sort of filling, but it was peach. Kind of like mochi in a way, but more airy and sweet, and just all around delicious and very peachy. Apparently it's a Chinese New Year tradition thing, but I really don't know much more about that, even though I know there's not much to say I know. It feels great to be able to help people. I am really happy. Okay then, as long as you are happy. Oh, by the way, haven't we forgotten about something important? Not that I know of. What important thing? Comb? Ah, there are new letters here. I need to start working. I knew it. Oh, you should have still at least... Yeah, haha. Okay, VR. I will say this. I think there's only one time I actually used a VR, and that was at a mall back in I think 2014, and it was for only 5 minutes. But they were showing off some sort of headset, which I don't think is even considered public yet. But it was so real, the sound and the visual was so real, that when I was wearing it, I literally couldn't tell. I could not tell that it wasn't real. I knew it wasn't real because, obviously, my memory isn't that short that I would forget wearing a headset. Or that I was holding, control sticks in my hands to represent certain things. But the graphics were so well done and the sound was so immersive that it actually sounded and it sounded and looked completely real. It looked completely real. So, but I've never actually used a VR headset. So I've never owned a PlayStation VR headset or a Oculus or any of that stuff. I have considered the game Beat Saber. That looks pretty cool. But, I sometimes have migraines as it is. I'm worried that if I were to get a VR headset that it would make that a lot worse. Or possibly even give me brain cancer. The other thing being is, it'd just make me sick. And also, it is a bit of a bill to buy a VR headset. So, I'm not sure if I can really justify to myself spending that kind of money on that. But even then, it's also the concern of, is it actually really healthy for me to do something like that? So, I don't know.
젠장, 어떻게 이럴 수가?
Well, Kang Beck, the special op midnight. Okay, and
Dios, ¿qué hice mal?
Jack. Who is Jack? Okay, this is a single letter. There was a quiet street in Hong Kong. There was a quieter alley on the quiet street. At the end of the alley, there was a coffee shop with a sign in the shape of a maple leaf. Inside the shop sat its owner, who had a peculiar taste in clothes, at least in the opinion of many. I still vividly remember the first time I had met him. He was wearing a pair of red high heels, a pair of skin-tight black leather pants, and a lavish, fluffy fur coat. I will say this, I've never really cared for wearing tight pants myself. I usually prefer a little bit of baggier pants, so I do tend to wear a belt. But I never like the idea of tight pants just because, granted, I don't have a big dick or anything. It'd be nice if it was bigger. But, I like to have some room for things to move around. I imagine too tight of pants would be very uncomfortable. He had always told us to call him Mama. He still identified as a man, but preferred dressing as a woman. We all make our choices, and he understood more than most that being different need not lead to loneliness. Mama had saved my life. Not only had he saved me when I was being harassed by a pervert, he even let me work in his coffee shop, and he had paid me 3,000 Hong Kong dollars a month. I am not sure about the conversion rates of that money. It wasn't much in Hong Kong, but I got to live in the coffee shop, so basically like Persona 5's character living in the coffee shop, so that I could save up most of my salary and send it back to my brother in Mexico, who isn't there anymore! Or is this what? Okay, Carlos is 8 older when he travels, but you said that you're 9 years older. So, we are literally answering letters from multiple different decades at the same... What kind of time travel? It's an amazing story device, but it's come on. By the way, for anyone out there, who out there has watched the Street Fighter movie? The one that was made back in the 90s. Granted, there's a newer Street Fighter movie that focuses mainly on Ryu and Ken and their training under Goki and the whole start with Akuma and stuff, which is an absolutely amazing movie. They stopped it right before the match between Goki and Akuma, not because it wouldn't be awesome, but because they just They didn't feel they had what they needed to make the fight scene do the justice that they wanted. So they planned to try to save that for the next movie, which I look forward to coming out. I also look forward to the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. I think that'd be really good. Then again, I'm one of those few people that actually greatly enjoyed Batman vs. Superman. I thought it was an amazing movie, and I thought it was a 10 out of 10. I thought it was an absolutely awesome music. And I thought Ben Affleck was the best Batman we ever had. But I guess I'm the minority of that, because most people say they don't like that movie. But when I first watched that in theaters, I was like sitting at the edge of my seat. I was so excited by it. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And I still think it's the best Batman movie ever. And I still think Ben Affleck's the best Batman. But yeah, back to Street Fighter. While that new Street Fighter movie is really cool, I'm talking about the live-action Street Fighter movie that was made back in the 90s. Where Gomez Addams from the original Addams Family Values movies. Adam Gomez from the Addams Family, the one in the movies from the 90s. The actor who plays Gomez Addams actually plays Major Bison in that Street Fighter movie. And the main focus of that movie is Major Bison and Guile. Guile is actually played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. So that's pretty interesting. But the other thing is this. The actor who plays Fester Addams, the brother of Gomez Addams, who is, the actor who plays Major Bison. Because the actor who plays Gomez Addams plays Major Bison. But the actor who plays Fester Addams, his brother, is also the person who plays Doc Brown in Back to the Future. So that means the Addams Family movie is basically a movie where Major Bison and Doc Brown are brothers. Anyway, back to the time stuff. There were a few other misfits like me that Mama had taken under his wing. Hang, who never tell ketchup apart from jalapeno sauce. Raha, who couldn't help singing whenever he picked up a goblet. Jack, who would always wipe the table twice. We all had different colored skin, and we didn't speak each other's languages, but we had all been learning from each other as well. We had often talked to each other in English, Cantonese, Mandarin, and Spanish all at once. Miraculously, we managed to understand each other pretty well. I will say this, I have attempted to learn other people's languages. I am terrible at it. I mainly have tried to learn some Spanish and German, but I've looked into some Mandarin. The odd thing about Cantonese is apparently the pitch that you use when pronouncing a word can actually cause a great variance in the meaning of the word, which is a very novel concept, and it's very amazing to me, but it's something that even if I was good at languages, given the fact that my voice sometimes tends to vary between monotone and just wildly varying, I feel like it's a language that I would randomly say words that don't make sense. Then again, I kind of ramble on and go on weird tangents as it is. So, we always had a pretty great time together. We shared the same bedroom with 2 bunk beds. Jack slept on my top bunk, and Hang and Raja slept in the other one. Jack was only 15. He had curly blonde hair and a pair of clear blue eyes. Carlos was a few years younger than him. When we abandoned the orphanage, he and I slept in a bunk bed like this too. That was why I would like to stare at top bunk before I fell asleep, and imagine that it was a 15-year-old Carlos sleeping up there. However, the peaceful days did not last for too long. Only Jack and I were in the shop that day. He had just taken the trash out the door. Moments later, I heard some muffled sound of fighting and yelling in the back. I ran out the back door and saw a couple of tall, strong men pinning Jack to the ground, tying his hands and feet behind his back. Oh, yeah, I saw this in the letter from the kitty cat. Jack's lips were bleeding, and he seemed to be unconscious. I wanted to run back upstairs to find Raha, but I knew he was sleeping in the bedroom. But before I could, someone had caught me from behind. Then my face was covered with a foul-smelling piece of wet cloth. Did someone chloroform her? Right in front of where she lives? Now I'll say this. The place where I live, this sort of thing would not happen simply because there just aren't that many people living here. But perhaps in a bigger city, it might be more of a concern. Does anyone listening to this video live in Hong Kong or anywhere around that? Or I would hope no part of the world is this bad where just standing in front of your house this would happen to you. When I woke up, it was already deep in the night. Jack and I were locked inside what seemed to be a small warehouse. Jack woke up at almost the same time as me. We both looked out the window and we could see the blinking neon lights of a busy Melody Hall. If I remembered correctly, there was an auction house opposite Melody Hall. Mama used to tell us the auction house on this street was not really legitimate, so it sells people. Fucking bullshit. I'll say this, slavery or any kind of human trafficking is absolutely, it's despicable. It should not exist, it never should have existed at any fucking time period. The fact that a human being was ever treated like property by another human being is disgusting. Legendary paintings that had gone missing. Rare ore that had been illegally smuggled in. What ore is considered rare? I mean, gold and silver is like what? Uranium? Plutonium? Frozen sperm of dead movie stars. Now that's not so much scary, it's just gross. Ancient mummies of undetermined age. Okay, uncharted. Panda bears. Why is panda bears in blue? Even exotic looking young boys and girls. As long as there was a buyer, there was nothing they wouldn't sell. We couldn't stay here, but you can't exactly go. I had been through this one before. This time I felt calm. I had to get myself out of here and I would take Jack with me too. There was only one guard in the hallway. I slammed on the door to get him to come over. I told him that Jack had stopped breathing. He didn't think too much of it. Perhaps he thought we were just a couple of kids. So he opened the door and crouched down next to Jack, who was playing dead. When he reached out to feel Jack's breath, I pulled the gun out of his waistband and pushed it against the back of his head. Then we gagged his mouth, tied his hands and feet behind him, and locked him inside the room before we snuck downstairs. We didn't run into anybody along our way at our reception desk. Just when I was about to celebrate our good fortune, someone yelled at us from behind. I turned around and saw a sleepy man who was holding a mug. He rubbed his eyes and slammed the mug onto the reception desk when he saw our faces. For some reason, that just makes me want to drink some apple cider and eat some pumpkin bread and sweet potato bread. Ow, that hurts my ears. The alarm went off. I grabbed Jack's hand and we started running toward the port as fast as we could. 4, maybe 5 guys came after us from the auction house. There were lots of warehouses and small roads near the port that made up a complex maze. We had to play cat and mouse and were chased before we could find a secure hiding place. At the southwest corner of the port, there was a recycling center. The center had a fenced-in lot and piles of garbage in it. Only a couple of overtime workers were operating the crane. They would lift a dumpster high up and then dump everything into the lot. There were many extra-large dumpsters outside the lot. Jack and I had split up earlier, and I waved at Jack from the distance to come over. The dumpster was empty. Stop hiding, we saw you. I'm over here. I tried to draw attention to myself. They opened the cover of the dumpster. I walked out from the cargo container not too far behind them. I tried to distract them, however they had already opened the dumpster cover and seen Jack hiding inside. They didn't tie us up to avoid attracting too much attention. Instead, they surrounded us and marched us toward the auction house. If we didn't follow their orders, the guns at their waistbands would make us regret it. I fell into a deep despair. Jack must have been so frightened too. I looked at him, but for a moment I thought it must have been a mistake. I thought I just caught him smiling? What? What? We were close enough to see the auction house when one of the guards' phones rang. Everyone was temporarily distracted by the phone, including me. But a gun shot interrupted the ringing. A guard had already fallen down. A bullet had just passed through his head. Jack had just shot him with a smile on his face. He had somehow taken a gun from one of the guards. He then turned around and shot the second guard right in his chest. He didn't waste any of the bullets. It was almost like magic. Soon, all 5 guards were lying on the ground. Jack looked at me with a casual expression on his face. Alicia, let's get out of here. Well, good job, Jack. I was still in shock at what had happened, and before I could say, okay. Oh. Heard another gunshot from far away, and then a splashing sound nearby. Jack dropped to his knees and slowly collapsed. Bright red liquid was oozing out from a small hole in the middle of his forehead. Damn, these people have some fucking good aim! I'll say this. I have been able to hit clay pigeons in the air with shotguns, but I have tried to use 9mm and other kinds of pistols to shoot clay pigeons out of the air. I have probably wasted hundreds of rounds trying to hit them, and yet I couldn't hit a single damn one. These people have amazing aim! Only this time he was carrying a gun instead of a mug. He started walking slowly toward us. I held my hands to my head and dropped to the ground sobbing, Heavenly Father, why on earth would you let this happen to us? What have we done wrong? Alicia. That is the thing, like, why is this shit allowed to happen? Okay, we got some options. Okay, let's see this. I think this will work. We huddled together inside the dumpster and held each other's hand. It stank around us, but we couldn't care less. We were only praying that we wouldn't get discovered by the men outside. It reminded me of the time when my parents were killed. Carlos and I had been hiding inside a small closet that felt just like this dumpster. Well, this is just horrible! Why do people keep killing people? Like, here's the thing. I support the idea that the Second Amendment and people have guns for multiple reasons, but mainly so people can defend themselves. My opinion is that the only good use of a gun is in the defense of life, to save lives, to defend your own life and to defend the life of others. That it is a tool, that the only purpose of said tool is to protect others, to defend the weak. And a gun shouldn't be praised for an ease of use, but rather a gun should be praised for the dream of never having to use it. That should be the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal shouldn't be that a gun's good because it's so easy to use. The ultimate goal should be that the ultimate goal of a gun is the dream that you never have to use it. That you never have to hurt anyone. That we can live in a world where no one hurts each other. But at the end of the day, there will still be danger. And I want people to be able to protect themselves. Because I don't want innocent people to be hurt. I don't want people to break into people's homes. And people to lose their children or their families because of this. In the end, I just want everyone to be safe. And I want people to be able to protect themselves should someone try to hurt themselves. I just want everyone to be safe. My 3-year-old brother was still asleep. He didn't even notice what had been going on outside. But I witnessed my parents being gunned down through the gap of the closet doors. Damn it, where are those bastards? A curse pulled me back from my memories. Fortunately, their voices seemed to be moving away from us. But before long, the dumpster started to shake. It seemed to be moving. And then it tilted. We were dumped out of it, all along trash, fell in the pile of dumpster along with the recycling center. Over there. The girl with the purple dress. I saw her. We were discovered. Then we were captured before we ran too far. We were brought to the auction house. What was going to happen to us? Okay, so still a bad ending. No. It's like process of elimination. I just have to keep moving stuff around until I get something that works. Here you are! Get out if you want to live. 5 guns were pointing at our heads. This doesn't sound promising. We had no choice but to climb out the dumpster and fall in the back of the auction house. What was going to happen to us? Okay. Okay, this is something new. I walked out from behind the cargo container not far away and tried to distract them. However, they had already opened the dumpster cover. There's no one inside. You fool! Go get the girl. They tied me up again and went back to look for Jack a long time ago. They couldn't find him anywhere, though. In the end, they decided to just take me back first. On the way, I saw a shadow from the corner of my eye. I looked up. A huge dumpster had been lifting up and emptied into the slot for the recycling center. My eyes noticed a small body roll out together with the garbage. None of the guards were aware of it. They never realized the person they had been looking for was right under their nose. Jack had always reminded me of my brother. I would often change my shift to the same ones as him. Unlike Carlos, Jack never talked too much. However, I would still try to chat with him. After a while, we started to talk more and more with each other, although he rarely mentioned anything about himself. Once I accidentally saw a horrifying burn scar on his back when he was changing. He must have had a story that I didn't want to think about. Another time, I'd asked him where he would like to become when he was older. He pondered for a while and said, a policeman or maybe a doctor. A look on his face was almost like he had been looking at an ocean of blossoming flowers. And he had been enchanted by the hypnotizing scent of the flowers. The warm summer breeze was kissing his exquisite blonde hair, and glowing sunlight was shining inside his sky blue eyes. He almost looked like an angel to me at that moment. I knew he was not just saying that. He had a lot of books. When he wasn't working, he was always reading in his bedroom. Even when he was on the shift, he would sit behind the bar and read when there were not too many customers. He spent all of his earnings on books, although I didn't think one could be a policeman or a doctor through only self-learning. Still, I believed that Jack, my little angel, would be able to do it. Because I believed that if he did his best, his dream would come true. Yes! Rank S! And Jack probably goes and gets Mama, and then they go together and they manage to save her. Though the auction house might be the same thing as the Kang Beck guy. So, is there anything else? Okay, there is somebody down here, Jimmy. Which is connected. Hey, I just noticed that there is a cat on the letter. This is the first time I've ever seen something like this. Oh, this must be a doodle that Jimmy sketched on the letter. If the doodle is very obvious, it might show up on the letters we receive. What is this that he drew? I think it's a cartoon cat called Sir Spotty. It was pretty famous in their world. I think this thing was even referenced a little bit in the Persona series. Apparently this is a very popular item in the Asian area, though it's not really known over here in America. I have no idea about Europe. We also have it in our dictionary. I didn't know he's a painter too, that's impressive. Something like this barely qualifies as a painter. I'll say this, I'm terrible at drawing, but I'll say this, if you enjoy doing it, that's all that matters. Whether you play an instrument or draw, keep at it. The most important thing is just to do it, just because you enjoy it. Today was Sunday. I climbed out of bed a lot earlier than usual. I wanted to try my brand new VR game before Rocky woke up. I said, I'm considering VR, but I'm on the fence. And by on the fence, I'm like 10 feet away from the fence. There are all kinds of games available now. FPS, dance games, and even X-rated ones. I'll be honest, all those sound good to me. An FPS, I can imagine playing Halo, but VR. Or, Beat Saber is kind of a dancing game. Jedi rhythm game, and who wouldn't want to play a hentai in VR? I mean, come on. The VR gear was the big thing. As long as it wasn't developed by the people that, in Sword Art Online, all the good ones were so expensive. So I got The one I got cost almost 10 grand. If I hadn't told my dad that I was buying this for research purposes, which technically wasn't entirely untrue, there was no way he would have bought it for me. I put the gear on, and it was like a helmet really. It was quite heavy. However, wow, it did feel quite realistic. It was as if my body had entered the virtual world. I changed my position. That felt so good. I tried all the tricks that I could, and I was exhausted. I took off the gear and realized that Rocky had been up. He was wearing the smart glasses that I bought a while ago and was looking right in my direction. My eyes widened in shock. I noticed the recording light blinking on the glasses. You dick, Rocky! You son of a bitch! That's gonna be embarrassing! Was he playing an X-rated game in VR and got recorded for a YouTube clip? Ah! No! Rocky! I am going to kill you, you bastard! Ah! Rocky, what are you doing? The way you were playing looked too funny, so I decided to keep it for posterity. Record my ass. The automatic streaming option was on. Wait, what? Streaming? I hurried over to my computer, logged onto the streaming website, and checked my channel. Oh my gosh. Everything had been broadcasting. Like angry face flipping people off. There have been over 5 million viewers? And went straight to... Wow! Holy shit! The commenters had gone berserk. Oh. Everyone was screaming pervert. Tent in the pants. Somebody even said they would dox me. I was so screwed. Jimmy. I will say this, I would definitely enjoy an X-rated game myself. 11 p.m. Warehouse 23, Port of Busan. The warehouse was half full. There was an asphalt barrel in the middle of it that did not seem to belong there. I walked toward it to check its contents. As I had suspected, it wasn't filled with asphalt. A person had been stuffed inside. It was a very muscular man. He was barely breathing. This morning at work I had received an express delivery. There was nothing but a photo in the envelope, with the time and the location written in its back. The same barrel was in the center of the photo. It was the exact same spot that I was looking at right now with my own eyes. Then I heard scurrying footsteps near the gate of the warehouse and clinking sound of guns. Warehouse 23 belonged to the Musun gang. It could not have been more obvious that this was a trap set up for me by Choi Yo-han, yet I had to come. 20 minutes later, the muscular man and I were tied together, sitting on the ground with our backs against each other. The two guards who were in charge of watching us had been waiting for their replacement, but they were so sleepy that they could barely keep their eyes open. It was pretty late after all. Anyone who had to watch two middle-aged men like us would get sleepy. I quietly cut the rope with a razor blade glued to my sleeve while the guards were dozing off. I know another trick some people use is what you do is if you're wearing army boots or something like that, there's a certain type of cord that's used for military purposes, but it's more so a metal cord, but it passes off the shoelaces. But say if you were to have something wrapped around your feet, you could use the shoelaces as a sort of friction saw to get yourself out of something. But you'd have to be very hyper prepared of an individual. The amount of vigilance it was taken. Then I grabbed the Glock 43 that I hid in my pant leg and covered it with my palms. After years of police work around here, I knew every single warehouse of this port like the back of my hand. All the warehouses from number 15 to number 25 were large-sized ones. They were usually filled with lots of huge cargo containers. If there were some reinforcements outside to distract them, I should be able to defend myself inside, even with only 6 bullets. They were not the only ones waiting for their prey tonight. This is all part of my plan. There was a shock shoddy clock on the wall of the warehouse. It made a ticking noise every time the hand moved. The hour hand was almost on 12, and the minute hand had 10 minutes away from it. I gave the muscular man a signal in his palm behind my back and waited patiently. I handed the gun to him. Lots of noises were coming from outside the warehouse. It sounded like a lot of people in cars. At the same time, the moment the minute hand passed, we both stood up and ran toward the back of the warehouse. However, I didn't expect the muscular man to suddenly trip and fall over only a few steps. His legs were presumably numb and stiff after being cramped up for so long. Those two guards were wide awake now. Multiple gunshots echoed inside the warehouse. They never intended to let us get out of here alive, and there was certainly no reason to hold back anymore. And then I saw holes exploding all over the muscular man's body right in front of me. Fuck you all, you monsters, bastards, motherfuckers. Go to hell. I turned around, raised my gun, and the chaos that bullet hit my thigh. Suddenly all the other bullets started flying in the air, suddenly moving in slow motion. They were so slow that I could see them in rotation and the vapor trails were after them. I realized that he had woken up. When I woke up, I was laying in a cheap motel somewhere. I had changed into some clean clothes. There was a half-eaten sandwich and a glass of orange juice on the nightstand next to my bed. I opened my left fist. As expected, there was a note with a message in it. It looked like it had been written by a child. These new clothes cost $50,000. I survived. But Choi Yo-han had got what he wanted too. Again. I had lost another important person in my life again. Who is the muscular man? Who? Oh, is it the other guy from Unit 4? Not our other character. But because there was originally this guy and one other person in Unit 4 before the new guy came. Kang Bak-yeon. Okay. I'm just curious. What on earth? Perhaps they were desperate to stay awake. The two guards started watching porn together on their phone. Just in case our legs were too stiff to run, the muscular man and I quietly shifted around a bit to loosen up her legs. Lots of noises were coming from outside the warehouse. It sounded like a lot of people in cars. At the same time, the moment the minute hand also hit 12, we both stood up and ran toward the back of the warehouse. By the time the two guards noticed we were gone, we had already taken cover behind the cargo containers. Any time now, just a little longer. The guard with the gun was walking toward the back of the warehouse, and the other one was behind him. I needed to stall a little longer. I couldn't let them come any closer. I stared at their stretched hands on the ground. I had the barrel of my gun peeking out from behind the containers. Then I pulled the trigger and the first shot hit the right hand of the guard in front. Seeing their partner hurt and screaming in pain, the other guard stopped moving toward us out of fear. And then the garage gates slowly opened. They were here, right on time. The game was so nauseating, I made the right decision to have my partner carry the gun. I was so wise. But the game felt super boring if you weren't actually shooting something. I took 10 grand helmet off and threw it back in the drawer. Rocky was still snoring in his bed. He had probably stayed up late last night from the soccer game. Never mind, I was going to head home out and roam the streets now. I put on the smart glasses I bought a while ago and snuck out of school into the real dimensional world. Okay, we got our rank S's. And you know what? I think we'll go and call that Okay, well, hope everyone out there had a good day. Bye.